Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how I use my chainsaw to mill up these cherry logs. I'm going to go through step by step on how I set up all my equipment. Over here I have a 8-foot ladder that I'm going to use for the milling process, and it gets screwed onto the log with these screws right here. Screws, and it just goes through the ladder like this and into the log. Just want to make sure you don't go too far into the log, that your chainsaw doesn't cut through the screws. I use impact driver to get those in, and then you're going to need some wedges, and that kind of keeps the log from collapsing on itself when you're milling. I'll show you that too as we get going. Make sure you have good safety equipment. Here I have chainsaw chaps with the ballistic fiber, so if the chainsaw hits your leg, it'll stop the blade from you. Safety gear, got a helmet, visor, and ear protection, some work gloves. If you don't have that type of helmet, you can get this type here, just a hard hat with some safety glasses maybe, and some ear protection. And over here I have my chainsaw mill. This is the Panther 2 chainsaw mill, and the chainsaw bar gets clamped in here. I'll show you that too. I use 1/2-inch wrench and crescent wrench to use that to make adjustments. Then these are spacer blocks. I have 3/4-inch blocks, several of those. These are oak blocks, and 1-inch. And these are just spacers that go in here and determines the thickness of your cut. Fuel for the chainsaw, synthetic, or you can do a 50-to-1 for my saw. Bar oil, a funnel. Don't get over your chainsaw. I have an extra ripping chain and my chainsaw tool. Today I'm going to use my Husqvarna 872 XP, and it's a 77cc chainsaw. Right now I have a 24-inch bar on here that has a cross-cut chain on it, but I'm going to switch it out for this 36-inch bar. Okay, and the bar I'm using is 3/8-inch 63 thousandths 115 drive links for this, and I'm going to be using a semi-chisel ripping chain. So I'm going to install that now, and I'll show you what that looks like. Here's a handy little guide to show you what size chainsaw engine you'll need for the log size you're cutting. Alright, I'm going to switch out my bars here in my chain. Taking off the 24-inch and put on the 36. Take off your bar nuts. Put those aside. Okay, bar on there. Chain. Always want to make sure you have the chain facing the right direction. I want to make sure the cutters are pointing forward, and this is in front of the tooth. This way would be backwards. Don't ask me how I know that. Here, chain. Okay. Okay, when tensioning your chain, you want it tight enough where it's not going to be sagging like this one, and it still has to be able to spin. So this one needs to be a little tighter. pretty good. Should still be able to spin without too much effort. You don't want it too tight. You want it hanging too loose either. It can come off on you. I think that's pretty good right there. So then you tighten down your bar nuts. Don't over tighten, or it'll be hard to get off. Just snug. It's pretty good. It could be a little tight, but we'll see how it runs. Yeah, you also want to top off your fuel and bar oil. Today I'm going to use the synthetic Husqvarna fuel. I like this fuel because if you don't use your chainsaw for a while, then it doesn't get all gunked up with the unleaded gas oil mix. Check your bar oil. Make sure it's got full. I change my bar oil, or add bar oil every time I add gas. So this is pretty full. I just used this the other day to cross-cut the cherry logs. They were 9 to 10 feet long, and my ladder's only 8 feet, so I cross-cut them into smaller sections. Most of the stuff I'm going to use with that are going to be smaller projects, so I'm not going to need really long boards. Alright, that's it on the chainsaw line. It's ready to go. Set that up, make sure it doesn't get flooded. Okay, now I'm going to set up the log, ladder on the log. You want to make sure that the ladder is level and not twisted or anyway. So I'll put the screws in kind of easy. Start here. And don't go in too far, just to get your log leveled out. Other end. Okay. And a couple in the middle. And there we go. It's important you don't go too tight with the screws. You don't want to twist the ladder in any way. Just snug. That should be pretty good. Alright, we're going to put the chainsaw in the middle. We're going to do it with the head facing up. And the bar slides in here. Okay. You want to make sure you don't clamp the sprocket down here. I'll show you that. Okay, you want to make sure you don't clamp the sprocket. So you don't want to clamp here. This area needs to spin. I always clamp it a little bit behind it. Then down here at the end of the head, make sure it's centered. Centered good. There's your chainsaw head. Here's what it looks like. Alright, then you're going to tighten down these nuts here. First by hand, kind of evenly on both sides. Same thing down here. Tightening this one, that one, and you're going to tighten it down a little bit on each. want to over tighten. Alright, I'll finish tightening this and be right back. Alright, let's talk about putting the spacers in for the Panther Mill 2. If you don't put any spacers in, your thickness of cut is going to be just like this right here. If you can see very good, but that's going to be really thin. So you got to put spacers in so you can get some wider boards. Here you would probably not have much of a board at all if you didn't put any spacers in. So the spacers are going to go here and here. So it's going to lift this up. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so here's my spacers. I'm going to start by putting a 1-inch one in and show you. So you lift this up and you're going to place it between the bar and the bottom of the mill, one on each end. Now that would give us a 1-inch cut. I've got a 1-inch block here, so this spacing would leave you with a 1-inch board when you use your mill. I'm going to go thicker than that. I'm probably going to go at least 2 inches, so I'm going to put another block in, raising this up. One more. Another one here. So that's going to give me a 2-inch thick board when I do this. And if I want to go higher, I've got some 3/4 inch boards. Basically, I just ran these oak boards through my surface planer and made sure they were exactly 1 inch or 3/4 inches. So right now I'm set up for a 2-inch thick slab. I'll probably start with that on this first log. I've got 4 logs today to cut through, so I think I'll just start with the 2-inch slabs. Okay, now next thing you want to do is tighten these bolts down. This gives you that 2-inch setting. Okay, and then on this side, okay, tight but not too tight, so it doesn't move on you. Never over tighten. You'll have problems later. Okay, now you want to take these spacers out. Alright, make sure your chain still spins. Everything's looking good. Alright, now let's show you how this is going to work with the log. I want to tell you I really like this Panther mill. Pretty solid steel, made in the USA. I think they're made in Florida. This one was about $150, I think. But I think that they custom make them too when you place your order. And they come in different sizes. And I think mine goes up to like maybe a 52-inch bar, which is pretty big. But biggest bar I have is a 42-inch bar. I got 36 on here now. Panther mill, nice and solid, heavy. It's nice, this weight. You know, helps with the saw. The saw is pretty heavy, and having this extra weight to balance it out helps a lot, especially when you're running across an aluminum ladder. Alright, I'm going to show you how this works with the ladder and the log setup. Okay, one thing I remembered, or just remembered, I forgot to tell you, is when you make your first cut, you got to take into account the thickness of the ladder that you're using. So here we have aluminum ladder standard, probably about 2.5, 3 inches thick. So I had to lower my chain bar down about 1.5 inches to 2 inches just to get that first cut. I'll show you here. That first cut so it wouldn't cut into those screws. And basically what's going to happen is we're going to take the bark off this first cut with the ladder. That'll give us our flat surface. And then once the bark is off and we got a flat surface, we can take off the ladder and then just run the mill on the log itself, because the log will be flat. And then each successive cut you can just keep using the top of the log till you get down towards the bottom. Alright, so let me start up the saw. Well, I'll put my safety gear on first and start up our saw and show you the first cut. Nice to see what the log's going to look like. Now the rest of the cuts will run with the chainsaw running off the flat surface here. Okay, we'll make a few more cuts. After that first cut, couple things. We're going to lower the space between the bar and the rails down back to our 2-inch thickness, because now we're going to cut 2-inch boards. And my chain needs to be tightened up a little bit. That's too loose. Probably came loose. I don't know if I had the bar nuts tight enough. Also, my chain's a little dull. It's throwing out mostly dust. So I'm going to give it a quick sharpening, and we'll be right back. Okay, sharpened up the chain. Now I'm going to lower it back down to the 2 inches that I'm going to get my slab with. So I'll use 2 blocks, 2 1-inch blocks on each side. Alright, add my other block over there. Lower this down. Okay. Tighten back up. So I've got 2 1-inch blocks in to make a 2-inch slab. Okay, now you're going to see what we use the wedges for, to keep the bar from getting pinched in the slab. So we use wedges to prop it open. Put these here. Okay guys, well that's how I do my chainsaw mill setup, and if you decide to do this, it's a lot of fun, a lot of work, but it's not too expensive. Get a good chainsaw, good mill, and be safe, get good safety equipment. It's a lot of fun, rewarding to be able to go and build a piece of furniture from one of these planks. It's pretty nice. Maybe a coffee table or end table. Anyway, good luck with your woodworking and your chainsaw milling. Until next time.